Yo, it's Bacardi, Chris WCC, man. I'm back in the building with another Ash video, man. How y'all been? Hope you been well. Hope been taking care of yourself, loving yourself, staying out the way, eating healthy, goddamn, drinking water, eating fruits. Feel me the best you can. Just doing anything that's gonna make you feel better, mentally and physically. Please do it, no matter what. You know, don't let nobody discourage you from doing what you want to do. Today we got Xbox 360 launch games. Were they really that good? We have to see this video. You gotta do more, because I love doing these reactions that really involve gaming, because I don't, you feel me, you don't be that many nowadays, maybe, or maybe I'm just not looking in the right places. But you know, shout franchise player gaming. Without further ado, we about to get to this banger, man. Go check them out. And yeah, excuse me, let's do it.
Franchise player, and today we're taking a trip all the way back to November of 2005. And some of you might be like, dude, what was happening all the way back in November of 05? Well, I'll tell you what, it was the launch of the Xbox 360 and the beginning of HD gaming. And with the 360 getting up there in age, I thought it would be fun to go back and check out some of the launch titles. Mind you, I didn't have a 360 at launch. I didn't get one all the way.
Yeah, me either. I didn't get a 360 till, I know this is gonna sound crazy, y'all, but I didn't get a 360 to like what? Maybe 2015. Yeah, I was delayed like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I ain't get one till like 2015. But I played it from time to time. You feel me? Like over the years and stuff. Cause my cousin, I think my cousin had one. No, he had the PlayStation 2 and 3. Nigga had all the games. But I like, you feel me? We go to like other people houses, they got a game system and shit. All I had was like the Wii and shit. The Wii, a PlayStation 1, and 3DS. But I think I got my 360 around like what? Maybe 2014, 2013. Well, no, 2013. 2014, 2015, I think. Yeah, the first game I had on that bitch and I was playing for it was GTA 5. Like, come on now. It was a must. But yeah. But I definitely play hella games in that, though. You know what I'm saying? I definitely still have it. And I've been thinking about honestly sending it back up too, so I can play it again. But I had to see.
Way up until I think holiday of 08. But man, the launch lineup was stacked. So we're going to check out some games that I would have picked up at launch if I would have had one, or some games that I think are worth checking out now. So sit back, relax. This is going to be a fun one. Like I said, the 360 launch lineup was absolutely loaded, and we're starting off strong here with an absolute classic, which is Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005. Now, if I was in line on launch day back in November of 2005, Need for Speed Most Wanted 100% would have been on my list to pick up day one. And for good reason too, because with the 6th gen of consoles and Need for Speed was going hard, they were starting things off on the right foot on the 360 with Need for Speed Most Wanted. And what's really cool about this version, funny enough, if you picked it up on launch day, this is actually the premier way to play Need for Speed Most Wanted. No shade at all to the 6th generation version of this game, but playing it on 360 is the way to do it. And it's actually the only way to play it in HD, which really adds to the value. And I'm not trying to wear the nostalgia goggles too much here, but this game was actually rated pretty solid at launch. It has an 83 on Metacritic, so pretty darn solid for a launch title. You gotta figure some launch games can come off a little rocky, but this game came out swinging, and I had a blast going back and playing this. I never had it back in the day, at least on 360, so it's really cool to check this out. This game is really a product of its time, but in the best way possible. It's like peak 2005. The Fast and Furious movies had really kind of set the tone for the car scene, the modding scene, the racing scene, so games like this were just on fire. The cutscenes in this game are definitely the most 2005 part of this game. The main like enemy, the dude you're racing against, there's a part where he's like, first I'm gonna take your car and then I'm gonna take your girl, and then the race starts. So it has that nice 2005 flavor, but the gameplay is super fun, dude. Modding the cars, racing, like the speed, you actually kind of feel the speed. I know that sounds weird, like normally I'm more of like a sim racing type guy, but playing a fun arcade racer like this is awesome. Highly recommend playing this one, especially on 360 if you've never had the chance. Definitely worth a playthrough in my book, but let's get right on to the next game here on the list. Next up here, we're taking a look at another game I probably would have picked up at launch just due to the movie being out at the time, and that is Peter Jackson's King Kong. the official game of the movie, which is kind of a funny title. But this game really surprised me. I'd always kind of heard some hype about it where people were always like, oh wow, this game is fantastic, especially for a licensed game, a movie tie-in. I was pleasantly surprised, man. This is definitely a fun one. And I guess I didn't really know what to expect with this one. I was maybe anticipating it to be more of like a third-person action platformer, but this game is a straight-up first-person shooter. And similar to Need for Speed, this was also on the 6th generation of consoles, but this is the only HD version of the game. This game also fared pretty well with reviewers at the time. Looks like it has an 80 on Metacritic, so a pretty solid launch title once again. Some launch titles can definitely feel like a gamble just because developers are getting used to the new hardware and figuring out how to develop on these consoles, but this game, in my opinion, handles really well. The gunplay feels great. I think the audio is pretty darn solid. Some of the visuals are dated, but of course you're going to expect that with this being a game from 2005. I didn't get super far in this game. I played roughly probably about an hour into the story, and I will say the level design is fine, nothing too crazy. You will have some small puzzles here, like you can see you have a sniper and then you're shooting out these little posts to kind of ignite the ground below. Other than that, I mean, it seemed pretty straightforward to me. The weapons are decent. I don't think there's a huge selection of weapons either, but overall, I actually enjoyed playing this game, and I would definitely recommend it if you're wanting to go back and check out some of the launch titles on the 360. Next up here, we have a game that actually surprised me being the highest rated on the list, and that would be Call of Duty 2. So this was a true name brand shooter on the 360 at launch, and mind you, this is only a couple years before the highs of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This game is a pretty polished version of Call of Duty 2. Once again, please keep in mind that this is 2005, it's the 360, it's the only HD version of Call of Duty 2. This ended up getting an 89 on Metacritic. I might have not gotten a 360 at launch, but when I got mine back in 08, Call of Duty 2 was actually one of the first games I got on the list. I was a kid, didn't have a ton of bread, right? So went to GameStop, or it might have even been EB Games, and picked up Call of Duty 2 because I think it was like $12 or maybe a little bit cheaper, along with some sports games. So I ended up playing a ton of Call of Duty 2 when
Man, around these times, bro, I know growing up as a teen around these times had to be the best shit ever. Like, no cap. Like, the best shit ever. Y'all were able to experience peak, like, times where you can actually, niggas waiting in line for the game, bro. You're not going to experience that no more since everything is digital and shit, bro. People waiting in line for the games, nigga, the consoles. Like, just all type of shit. What Captain Price said, now I'm just ghost town. No cap. It's literally just a ghost town now. You're not going to see anybody else at a GameStop, probably about one person, and that's the worker. You know what I'm saying? Probably one or two people, maybe on certain days. But I know now GTA 6, they might revive this shit now. You feel me? That might be the only time, because that's the most anticipated. Like, nigga, we've been waiting on this shit for the longest. So GameStop might get revived when GTA 6 come out. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that they'll be on the right to do it like one last time, and it'll be for GTA 6, because we've been waiting on that shit for the longest, my nigga. You feel me?
First got my 360 and was blown away by the graphics. And all things considered, I don't think this game has aged too bad at all.
And probably Wolverine too. I can't wait for fucking Wolverine finna be so far. I cannot wait for that damn game.
Gameplay wise, it feels good. The controls are pretty tight. Call of Duty at this point pretty much had a recipe for what controls were going to feel natural for the player. So if you've played any of the CODs from this era, you'll be able to pick it up and play no problem, which is pretty nice, because some of the games from this era, especially games I'd say from like 05, 06, 07, some of the controls might be a little funky just because developers didn't really know what worked yet and they were kind of experimenting. So lucky enough, the controls on this game have aged super well. But overall, COD 2 has aged pretty well. If you're looking for kind of at this point an old school first person shooter in the 360 era, I don't think this is a bad one to take a dive at. But it is pretty crazy looking back that 2 years after this game came out, we had COD 4, which changed the way that multiplayer worked and just overall how popular first person shooters were on console alongside Halo 3. So kind of a cool piece of Call of Duty history to check this one out. Next up here, we have NBA 2K6, and this is back when NBA Live was still the king. Not many people were on 2K back then because EA was killing it with NBA Live. But looking back, this is probably the game I would have went with just due for the deeper franchise mode. I did have NBA 2K6 on the original Xbox, but when I got my 360, kind of like I told you guys about with COD 2, I went to a GameStop/EB Games. Didn't have a ton of money, picked up some older sports games, and NBA Live 06 on 360 was one of them. So kind of funny to go back and look at what at the time would have been the next gen version of 2K that I was missing out on. With me being a huge basketball fan, I thought it'd be pretty cool to go back to these rosters and check out all the old legends that are in this game, some of the players that were starting off their career back then, and just all the cool teams that were around back in my childhood. Like, look, you got Iverson on the Sixers, you have the old Trailblazers squad there with Zebo, and of course you have a young LeBron. This is actually the only player from this game that's still active in the NBA, which is insanity. Goes to show how old LeBron is and how long he's been playing, and also how old we're getting as Xbox 360 fans. After checking out the rosters there and definitely having some nostalgia, decided to do a quick game and ended up picking the Cavs versus the Hornets. Obviously, we're going to use LeBron on the Cavs, and then I guess on the Hornets, technically Chris Paul did play this season before retiring. So yeah, playing as a couple guys who ended up having 20 plus year season careers, which is insanity. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Going back to a 2K this old was pretty brutal. The frame rate is pretty rough. The graphics are actually not too bad, especially for a launch game, but the frame rate, which I normally don't complain about, was actually pretty brutal here. Not having the dribble stick on these older 2Ks is pretty brutal too. They introduced that in 2K13, so anything before that is kind of tough to play. If you're feeling nostalgic for some older 2K, some older NBA, this might be worth going back to, or maybe checking out NBA Live instead, but this did get an 81 on Metacritic back in the day when it came out, so it reviewed pretty well. This game also is pretty generous with gamer score, so if you want to increase your gamer score, this is definitely an easy game to do it on. I think it's like an easy 1000 that's not going to take you too long. So enough of me talking about 2K6. Let's get on to the next game. Next up here, we have a game that I feel like is a forgotten classic nowadays, and that is Gun. With seeing Gun here on the list now, you might be noticing a bit of a trend, and that's that a lot of these HD versions of games were exclusive to the 360 just due to the fact that this was the first 7th generation console to release. And personally, I think this definitely would have been a day one pickup for me if I was getting a 360 at launch. On the PS2, I had Red Dead Revolver, so another Old West game with a cool story and some nice combat would have been an instant pickup for me at the time. The 360 version of this game only got a 75 on Metacritic, which I feel like is a little bit low. I definitely think an 80 probably would have been about right. I mean, the PS2 version got a 77, the OG Xbox version got a 79, so I feel like with this having the HD visuals, definitely should have put it at that 80 mark, but nonetheless, this is a super fun game. I had a really good time going back and checking this out because I never had it on 360 growing up, but I was able to actually play this on PS2 as a kid because my older cousin had it and I was able to borrow a copy from him. So this game is still pretty fun. I understand the world doesn't have a ton to do. It's not like it was the Red Dead Redemption game we got back in 2010, but at the end of the day, this is a really fun Old West game. One thing to keep in mind with some of these older Xbox 360 games, especially the ones that came out around launch or maybe shortly after, some of them can be kind of expensive, but luckily this game still looks to be around 20 bucks online, complete in box. So if you're a physical collector, I don't think 20 bucks is too bad of a deal for Gun on the 360. Next up, we have a game here that I've been wanting to play for years, and I've finally gotten around to it, and that's Condemned Criminal Origins. I'm not very far into the story so far on this game, but man, I am hyped that I gave this a go. The combat, the atmosphere, dude, everything in this game is incredible, and it's hard to believe it's 20 years old, but I will say this is a game that I 100% would not have gotten at launch. I was a little kid, and Condemned Criminal Origins probably wouldn't have looked too good in the shopping cart, so I think my parents would have said no to this one back in the day, but I'm glad I'm finally getting a chance to play it now. And Condemned Criminal Origins got pretty decent reviews. It got an 81 on Metacritic, and much like other games on this list, this is also an Xbox 360 exclusive, I think just due to the fact that the 360 was the first 7th gen console to come out. But if you're interested in the series and you don't have a 360, maybe you only have a PS3, luckily that second game is on the PS3. This game is violent, it's gruesome, the weapons you can use are insane as you can see here in some of the gameplay, like not even just guns, but from conduits, 2x4s, bats with like nails in them. You can absolutely demolish people in this game, so extremely violent. And this game is definitely scary too. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I had a couple jump scares, and I highly recommend playing this game in the dark with a headset on to just get fully immersed in this creepy, crazy world. Condemned Criminal Origins, in my opinion, absolute must play. 81 rating, not sure if I agree with it.
Yeah, I literally never heard anybody talk about it. This shit look fun though. It reminded me of like kind of like because what I've been playing recently was the first Dying Light. I've been playing that. They remind me of that a little bit.
I'll maybe be the judge of that after I beat the game, but so far I'm loving this. Next up here, we're checking out a game that I always had some interest in back in the day. Always thought the cover art looked pretty sick. Always heard a ton of hype about this series from the one on N64. And of course, we're talking about Perfect Dark Zero. I don't know why I never got around to this game back in the day. I always remember seeing it at game stores, whether it was GameStop, Game Crazy, if you remember Game Crazy at Hollywood Video, and probably in like Best Buys as well. I feel like this game was everywhere. But yeah, for whatever reason, never picked it up. So I was looking forward to finally being able to check this out, and unfortunately I was pretty disappointed. I just wasn't feeling this game at all. I don't know if it was the aesthetic, the gameplay, but something was off and I was not having a good time playing this at all. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe this game is like universally liked. It looks like it had an 81 on Metacritic, so the reviews were pretty solid, but I went on YouTube and apparently some other people were kind of giving this game some flack and talking about performance issues and things like that. Performance wise, I thought this felt fine, especially for a launch game on the 360, but apparently this runs significantly better on an Xbox One or any of the newer Xbox consoles. So if you're into performance, wanting to play games the best way possible, newer consoles are probably your best bet. But yeah, overall, pretty disappointed with my short playthrough on this game. Hey, if it is better, if it picks up, let me know. Is it worth going back to? I'm always down to maybe give it another chance. But yeah, overall, wasn't too happy with this one. And realistically, probably my least favorite one on the list today. So without me hating on this too much more, let's go on to the next game. Next up here is a game I definitely would have picked up at launch, and that's Amped 3 for the Xbox 360. This was the era of kind of like hardcore, early to mid 2000s, like punk sports games, so I think this definitely would have been up my alley. I was a huge fan of Downhill Domination on the PS2, and I think this would have scratched that itch on the, at the time, new-gen consoles. So this was actually the lowest rated game on the list. It got a 72 on Metacritic, and it kind of bummed me out to see this was the lowest rated game, man, because I had a great time playing this. I understand it's not like it has some gripping story that's going to change your life. It's very like cheesy early to mid 2000s stuff going on and like comedy and dialogue, but the clothing in here, the gameplay, the maps, I think this would have been a heck of a game to have at launch, dude. This would have been a fun one to fire up alongside maybe some first-person shooters, some sports games. Overall, this is just an incredibly fun game. Obviously, it's not going to be like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 and just help sell consoles and be a staple on that console of that generation, but Amped 3 I think is a little underrated and totally worth your time. So that'll pretty much do it for checking out some of these Xbox 360 launch games. I think this is in contention for one of the best launch lineups of all time. The Xbox 360 had a ton to offer, from sports games, first-person shooters, to racing games, adventure games. I mean, it pretty much had something for everyone, so it was really cool to go back to some of these that maybe I missed out on or had a little bit of nostalgia for. Did you have an Xbox 360 at launch? Did you get one shortly after? What do you think some of the best launch games are for this console? Like I said, easily one of the best launch lineups of all time, a ton to choose from. Let me know some of your favorite Xbox 360 games or maybe launch titles you think are worth playing that I didn't check out here today. But as usual, appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll catch you soon with another video.
Hey man, that was a banger, man. Shout out to Franchise Play. That was a very good video, because a lot of them I didn't even know about. I'm telling you, like I ain't get the 360 till like so later down to like everybody was on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So I got mine in like what, 2015. Then I was on the 360 for like what, a couple years, maybe two years, and then I had eventually got Xbox One Series. It's the white one, and then I played that for a little bit. I was on there for a lot of times. I had hella 360 games, like backwards compatible games on there. And after that, you feel me, I had my dad give me a PlayStation, because I'm talking about, I was on the coverage of Spider-Man so bad. I was like, nigga, I have to get this shit. And my dad got me Spider-Man, and I got a PlayStation 4 and God of War 2. He also gave me God of War 2018 one that same time too. Yeah, you feel me, right before my birthday, man. Fire. And then after that, eventually we got what, I forgot the latest console this called for the Xbox. I think, is it called the Series 2? I forgot, but the new white Xbox. You know what I'm talking about, the mini one, and then this one I bought me a PlayStation 5 in like 2023. But yeah, or 2024, one of them. But yeah, man, this is a banger video. Tell me what you thought about the video. Like and subscribe if you're new. And yeah, it's your boy Cardiac. She see him out there. But y'all stay safe, man. I love y'all. Till next time, man. I'm out.